Yeah, thank you for that. I also wanted to lead off of what you just talked about with prevention, and part of our project is kind of trying to take action in our community,
Yeah.
and we're wondering what your opinion would be on the best way to take action. And we made posters and posted hotlines and stuff like that. But we were wondering if you think it's more of a issue in our, like, say our small community could be solved by trying to go for the policy, or just spread awareness, or maybe funding. What do you think would be an option a small group of people could take?
That's a great question. I think all of the things that you talked about are options. I'll give you a couple of examples that I think um, may be helpful, and Jenny, you can certainly add in on this. So there's things like we have in the past historically with an organization that has hosted things like community cafes. So I don't know if you've been familiar with those, but basically, like, your school might host one, or a community center might host one, and typically it involves food, and bringing in parents to just talk to each other about what's been hard for you. What are the things that you are loving about parenting? What are the things that you're struggling with parenting? And creating space for conversation so that we're building bridges between families and between parents who are so often isolated and looking out in the world as if their struggles are their own struggles. And just sometimes hearing the stories of others can reduce your own stress about what you might be experiencing um, in your parenting journey, and the things that are really hard, or maybe food is a struggle for you, or transportation might be. There's different kinds of things. So that's one thing that you can do easily is post community conversations and identify whether through those conversations there are some gaps, like things that can happen in your community, like maybe the bus stops are in the wrong place for what parents really need, or maybe there's one really big issue for parents is childcare. Maybe there's not enough childcare, and how can you work with policymakers in your community to figure out how could we get more childcare in our community? There's funding for that, but there also maybe other strategies. Um, so that's one place you can start. I really appreciated what you described as taking action with doing posters and changing norms. I think messaging is a big deal. And I think I was looking at some of your questions and thinking about some of the norms changing that we're trying to do around how do we frame around mandatory supporting, so that it's not just the mandatory reporting is necessary when child abuse exists, certainly. And I think oftentimes what happens is parents are struggling with the supports that they need, whether it's financial or otherwise. So, what are the kinds of things in your community that might be available for a family to support them in an interim time as well? So, just, changing norms around, like, parenting is hard. Kids at all ages need different kinds. You all need something now different than you needed, 10 years ago. And parents don't always have the answers. And so, just changing some norms around, like, it's okay to have hard conversations